Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to the Ticker Highlight Show. I'm Mark Sebastian. I am the founder and CEO of OptionPit.com. I'm joined by Hans Albrecht, our Director of Income Trading, Leisha J. Leslie, your queen and mine, our chart analyst, and Andrew T. Giovinazzi, our Director of Education. Normally, the Ticker Highlight Show, I would give a quick overview of the markets, and then we would jump right into a trade. A little differently, we're going to go around the horn twice. We're going to kind of hear market thoughts. Leisha, I know you're on vacation, so if yours is shorter, that's fine. Market thoughts on what we saw Friday, what we're seeing today, and what we think the ramifications are going forward. And then we'll get into our trade and do the same thing. So with that in mind, let's begin. Let's start with we're going to end with Leisha on the next segment. Leisha, if you're ready, I'd love to hear what you're seeing in the charts from today and yesterday. If you need a minute to prepare, I can start with Hans.
I'm good.
Right.
I would just like to point out I wasn't here. I was probably in a pub, but lots of pubs. It was awesome. Dublin was great. I loved it. Anyway, Ireland overall was great. I just wanted to point out that after the close on Friday, bear with me here, the futures dropped another $60. So they were down quite a bit. Here's the close over here. When the regular options close around that, we all know the E-mini futures trade longer. They ended up trading lower. I need the daily. BBAI, guys, I'm selling my last call. Here we are on my futures chart. I think it's significant, 66.23. We start to trade and close below there, then yes, we can come back to the bottom of my channel, 65.20, 65.19. That's what I have. This could be a Harami candle, negating the whole thing. As always, we wait for confirmation. That's all I have.
All right. Next up on our list, we're going to go to our own Andrew Giovinazzi. Andrew, what are your thoughts on yesterday and then the kind of snap rally today?
The market was running pretty hard. I think Trump just kind of threw that out to kind of get the market to calm down somewhat. Shane's saying the Nov 21 calls are over 7x now. They just keep going up. Why ever sell any? And I think that was part of it. So because the market kept running on all this froth and didn't take much to kind of slow it down. And then also, I feel you remember when SVXY tanked Mark in what was that, 2018 that year? Remember Volmageddon?
Yes.
I kind of feel like, big players in the Bitcoin space knew there was a lot of over leveraged longs in all those little junky coins. And I think they just created an event, to be honest. And the tweet helped. But again, I have no proof of that. But, it's a little too convenient that all these leveraged long junk coins, everybody got smoked. So I think today is a good day, probably weekly profit cycles. We have a call spread. I've got a little bounce, so I'll take profits on it today. And we'll see where we go with how low, where volatility goes. But I would assume it would crawl back down, but it depends on how completely we get out of this whatever the tweet was. But as of right now, it looks pretty good.
All right. What's your reaction to the last couple of days?
Sorry, you're a bit muffled there, Mark, but I think you're asking me for my opinion here. So
Yes, I am.
okay, there you go. Okay, look, I think everyone was pretty excited. We've seen an incredible rally, one of the most amazing tech rallies that we've seen really in decades. We haven't had a 1% down day in forever, 2% down day since April. So we were due for a little bit of give back there. And I did talk last week on Ticker Highlight Show. I talked about how I was telling you guys about Micron volatility and how it's incredible to look at, but you can see it sort of spike back in April when we had a sell-off, and we've seen it spike very, very similarly, almost more sharply in a sense, on a market rally. So that's really unusual to see, and that was really a sign of a bit of exuberance, of people kind of getting a little bit excited, a little bit of FOMO, and that's always just a reason to kind of pause a little bit. That got me to sell out of quite a few of my own positions. So, and I mentioned about that. I said, listen, you want to follow Option Pit because we talk about this kind of stuff. It's the tea leaves, right? It's the little nuanced things that we notice and talk about that can really help you over time. So I'm not negative on the market. I think there are a lot of people that probably need to continue to get in, but I think we've probably put in a near-term top right here, generally speaking, and I would want to see that upside, those upside option prices kind of relax a little bit to feel a little bit better about a continued rally into the end of the year, but which I do think will come. But for now, we've had a little bit of the balloon has been just pricked just a little bit.
Yeah, I like that, Hans. I agree with you. Now, one thing I want to point out, you're going to hear me use this term risk on, risk off. And if you're a retail trader, maybe you haven't heard that before. So let me explain. When pro traders are using a term like risk on, that means investors are buying stocks. Investors are going into risk assets. And then when I say risk off, that means traders, investors, funds are moving more into bonds, government bonds in particular. If you look on Friday, you can actually see risk on versus risk off. Risk off was the market selling back, and look at what happened with the bond market on Friday. It had a really strong day. So stocks going up, generally risk on, except for in what's another risk off name? Procter and Gamble, utilities,
Coca-Cola and Pepsi.
Coca-Cola and Pepsi, Budweiser, Constellation Brands. Those are risk off. Risk on is Nvidia, it's Apple, it's Broadcom, and the greatest and the best way to track risk on and risk off is Bitcoin. If you want to share my screen, I want to point out what's going on with crypto even today. As Andrew said, Friday there was a big sell-off in, kind of worthless crypto, and Bitcoin though absolutely took it on the chin. It was the single largest single point drop. Are we sharing my screen yet? No, right? There we go. It was the single largest point drop, not in percentage, but in points for Bitcoin ever. And yes, the market is having a nice little recovery today. But I would point out that Bitcoin is actually still down today. If you pull up ETHA, which is another way to look at risk on, it's up a little bit. And the other way of looking at risk on is, where is the VIX? And we had been lamenting that, and I talked to you guys about this, that VIX had been rallying with the market. When VIX is rallying with the market, what does that mean for you at home? What should that be kind of getting your ears perked up to? Well, how many of us are carrying bullish option trades that they put on, let's say, middle of the month? Right? How many of us are? Yeah, almost everybody here. All right. When you're in an event like we were seeing, VIX rallying, and we're going to talk about that as the week progresses, why this was happening. When you see VIX rallying with SPY or with Qs, that is a sign to do a couple of things, and you can take this home. Pay attention here. One, you want to be willing. You're not going for as much money, and if you are, you're rolling. I'm selling. I'm in. I'm in IONQ, right? Which everyone knows has been a beast. I'm in IONQ. All right. I got a nice win on the second. I sell my win and roll higher, buying a different call. Then I get a nice win on the 6th. I take my profits. I use some of that credit, and I buy another call. So I'm constantly in a market where VIX is rallying and the SPY is rallying. The approach is bank profits for yourself. Bank profits, and if you want to stay long, roll higher. We see professional traders do this all the time, and retail traders tend to just kind of sit and ignore. The best way to do that. Now, when we're in a bull market with the VIX dropping, that is when we let our winners run. That is when we let our winners run. Right? Hans, Leisha, I know you're out this week. Andrew, myself. How many of us have been tightening up how quickly we take profits and then rolling higher rather than letting our winners run? Show of hands. Show of hands. Right? Thank you. I was going to be real awkward if nobody raised their hands.
It was. Although the one stock I regretted in is USAR. But other than that, I'm happy with everything else. But USAR is a beast.
Even a name like USAR that has gone parabolic. Are you leaving as you're selling and rolling to a higher call and selling and rolling to a higher call? Are you leaving a little bit of money off on the table? Yeah. But are you still participating? Absolutely. So in a market where we've got this VIX SPY rally, when they're working together, you are, as a trader, as a retail trader, and me as now a retail trader, I am banking profits earlier, and if I want to stay long, I'm rolling higher. Does that make sense?
It does.
Well, I know it makes sense to you, Andrew.
Pay yourself. Don't forget to pay yourself.
Absolutely. We see professional traders doing this all the time. And retail traders have a tendency not to. And that is something in this environment, both up and down, that retail traders such as yourself should be engaging in. All right. So with that in mind, we have some fun stuff to talk about on the Ticker Highlight Show. This is where we are going to be looking at stocks and options and trades that we like for this week. One we like and one we hate. We have a new editor. If you noticed our letters, we've got a new head of editorial that's going to be introducing himself. His name is Charlie. He's great. You're going to love him. But I want to kind of start with, if you look at the bull side, Andrew is going to talk about CRISPR Therapeutics, and Hans is going to talk about IWM. But I want to kind of look at the risk off side of things. The fact that the triple Q is, or not the triple Q, that Bitcoin is still falling, and that we've had this big breakout in the bond market. This is TLT. We're in a rate reducing cycle as it is. You can see how it rallied into the last rate cut. We have a rate cut coming at the end of the month. We also have clearly a more spooked market, and I think that plays well into the bond market's hands. And when I look at how much options cost, they're coming in at about 12%. That is not expensive. And so I kind of like the upside in the bond market. On the downside, Andrew's going to talk about AMD. We actually had a play on in Delta Strike in AMD that cleaned up on Friday. We made over 50% on that trade. And Hans, our AI whisperer, is going to be talking about NVIDIA and Micron and the stocks. But I want to kind of circle back to one that Andrew brought up last week, and that is Oracle. It had this nice test off the 50-day. Believe it or not, it was one of the better performers on Friday relative to the Mag 7 stocks. And my question is, if we do kind of fade here, they're going to throw out some of these winners so that they can be in cash to try and catch the bottom. And Oracle has been so strong, and I'm not entirely justifiably so. And I like that one to potentially drop. So that's where I'm sitting in terms of I'm bearish Oracle, and I am bullish the bond market. So with my picks out of the way, let's circle back to Andrew. Andrew's going to talk about AMD, and he's going to talk about CRISPR Therapeutics. And I can't wait to see what his analysis says here.
Hey, hello, everybody. So CRISPR, I posted this on. I'm sharing my screen if you want to put it up there. Did I share it?
You did.
I did. Okay. CRISPR. So what I posted up here on a Friday or this week. So you're going to see something like this that comes. And what I want to show you is basically from August 4th to October, whatever Friday or like Thursday was last week. Big. I just snapped a couple here, but big gain in option fingerprint long term. Now this is 2026 for my Flash 5 series and 10. I like looking at January 27, but there has been giant call buying in here, and the stock's gone from like 60 to 75 bucks. Also, I want you to note volatility. Again, volatility running very hot. Like this is 90-day vol. Okay, so this is volatility expiring in December. So traders are buying this thing up. It appears they're going to have some deal with an affiliate. It looks to be very large. So you got call buying. This stock used to be like 220 bucks at one point, and it's made a very like parabolic, basically like a huge bounce here over the last. If you look at the last 6 months, it was like 35 bucks, and it's had a nice big run off the bottom on a multi-year low. Oh, that is an alert. I have to get out for weekly profit cycles. So Mark, do Hans, and then I will do my AMD. Give me one.
All right. So there you go. Andrew's banking profits in weekly profit cycles right now. So we will kick it to Hans. And Hans, you are you're liking the Russell 2000 here.
You know what, Mark? It's not that I'm super negative on semiconductors. I think there's still going to be a continued build out. There's going to be endless needs for compute. And so I think there are some interesting places to certainly be in there. You mentioned Micron earlier. NVIDIA is not expensive. So I would not count those things out. In fact, I think they're probably going to branch out into, edge AI at the edge, more edge computing, which is going to be very important. We're going to need AI to work in devices and everything around us. We can't, we're not going to have time for a lag. Literally, we're not going to want lags. So a lot of AI has to kind of come right to the device, whether it's a car or any other kind of thing. So these are going to be important things that continue to be built out. But I'm also cognizant of the fact that this is an amazing revolution, I think, for the broader economy. And I think that this stuff is going to do something similar to what happened in the 90s, which was we built out the internet and all the fiber and all that. And yeah, we didn't use it up right away, but we used it up eventually. And so we're going to probably overbuild at some point. But where this is going to start to show a difference in, I'd say most what I would call regular areas of the economy, rather than just the semiconductors and software makers, is going to be in, our everyday lives, in, regular companies, small, medium companies that are going to start to be able to use these productivity tools, et cetera. I think that is going to be a wonderful tailwind for the economy as it catches on. We're going to have a little bit of job transformation that has to happen as well. So it may not be totally smooth, but I see this being a kind of an interesting time to start to shift a little bit more into those broader areas that are still a little bit kind of almost under the radar in terms of what the potential is there, the potential for profit margins to expand, the potential for innovation to start to, give companies the ability to do things that they couldn't do before. And so that's very, very exciting. So I'm shifting a little bit more out of the equipment and into things like IWM and kind of what I call sort of the real world stuff, right? The real touch and feel parts of the economy that affect us more directly. So that's what kind of gets me a little bit excited right now.
Yeah, I agree. And if you do think there's some upside in IWM, in the last year, it's up about 8.5%. The S&P's up almost 14, and the Qs, even with the drop from Friday, they're up 20.5%. So I'm with you. I do think that in order for the market to rally, you need the triple Q to start to move higher. And triple Q's already moved plenty high. We need the rest of the economy to start moving with it. That would be IWM and the Dow. Now on the downside, you are looking at SOX. This is the iShares semiconductor ETF. This is going to be NVIDIA, AMD, Micron, Intel. So this is going to be all your big players, and you can see the rip that this has had from the April lows. SOX was 150, currently 280. It's up over 50% since April. It's just an absolute rip. Year over year, it's up 20%. And that's including the drop from Friday. Prior to that, it was up almost 30%. So outpacing even the triple Q. So
look, it's been, and I've been talking about it since we did Special Situations AI. I said, look, it's about the picks and shovels, about the people building this, because they don't necessarily care who wins. They are going to win, right, by selling the infrastructure. And I think that's been a very exciting place to be. And this isn't being negative on it. But there's competition, right? Even, Google has great chips. There are a lot of chips out there that are going to start to move the needle on the inference side of things, on the edge side of things. So it isn't just going to be NVIDIA, even though they're the most successful at this point. Maybe we do see some margin compression, perhaps at some point. And it's a difficult area, right? And we also have the political issues. We have China, we have this and that. So for me, it's kind of sort of thinking of, okay, where have I done really, really well? And where is there maybe a little bit more low-hanging fruit, to use an annoying expression? Where's that low-hanging fruit for me to start to pick away at and perhaps, start to get a little bit of beta? And I'm watching very carefully for those margins to improve. And I think it won't be long before we start to get a breakout in those margins in small and medium cap, and these things could really go for a nice run. And by the way, I'm looking at my MTI. It's Friday sell-off kind of got us a little bit cautious there, but we had a lot of green, a little bit of yellow in there. So MTI is what we use in Turbo Income. I'm going to watch for that yellow, which is more of an income type trade environment, to start to turn into a green. We've got the 4 green, 5 green, and then that's where we can start to look at turbos as well to play a bit more aggressively that upside. So definitely watching for the indicators to help me along there.
All right, there you have it. All right, so Alicia, you've heard TLT, IWM, CRISPR, and on the downside, we've thrown you SOX, we've thrown you Oracle, and we've thrown you AMD.
All righty. Let's start with IWM. Now, I see a lot of change in trend candles today. This inside trading day is called a harami. It could negate this bearishness. So with anything on the chart like this, you have to wait until tomorrow. Is it going to continue negate this bearishness and continue its rally? Or, are we going to trade lower? And so anything that has a harami candle for me today, I would not trade. I have to see a confirmation tomorrow. So IWM, yeah, it could possibly turn around here. That's what this candle's warning us, that this could turn around and continue its rally. So possibly IWM higher, but I need more evidence. I find it interesting, as the market fell apart Friday, TLT was up. What's up with that?
Risk off.
Right? Right? So they are running for, what did gold do? Okay. So yeah, I would say TLT railing on Friday is a sign of risk off. I would agree with you there, Mark. Same idea, inside day. I would wait, because this could be a change in trend candle. And in this case, to trade lower, perhaps close the gap. If you see TLT begin to trade below yesterday's low, don't buy it. And I would wait till tomorrow to buy it. CRSP, I see a lot of bearishness here. It's into my next channel. I see support at 67.75. You may get some support here at these new recent lows. 71. Personally, I wouldn't buy it till I see a turnaround, but that's the way I trade. I don't like to try to catch the bottom, and I never do. Oracle lower. I do have it up against the median line. Today's looking good though. We get it close above here. Now it's still early in the day. We see Oracle turn around and honor our median line. That could be a good one to buy some puts in. But you also want to see RSI and MACD curl bearish. Oracle, what was the other one?
SOX and AMD. Yeah, and AMD.
Again, perhaps an inside harami candle day. I mean, look how this is right in the center.
Mm-hmm.
I personally wouldn't make a trade. This is could become a change in trend candle. So you got RSI holding the 50 level there, curling bullish. You do have MACD turning red. So for me to have those change in trend candles, again, same idea. I need more evidence, but that's the way I trade. So you guys see stuff, by all means, make the trade. But for me, technically, I can't put a trade on until I have the evidence.
There you go. Well, it's believe it or not, sometimes the best trade is no trade. I know we like to come up with a trade every week. The market took away an entire month of gains on Friday and is up now, kind of snapping back. But not in a really comfortable fashion today. I think the more likely scenario is as the day progresses, we kind of give away some of these gains. There, if you watch VIX, it has been slowly rallying all morning, and kind of see how this thing plays out. The only one that I really see that kind of interests me would be AMD. But even that one, because that bearish candle was actually kind of predicted by the ugly day that we got on Friday was actually coming off. Is that a doji kind of thing on that Thursday?
Yeah.
What would you call that, Leisha?
Yeah, I'd say that's not the perfect doji, but yes, could be a doji. You will have support at the top of the gap here, 203.53. Good move.
So I do think that if I was going to trade one of these, it'd be buying puts in AMD. But as we said, sometimes the best trade is no trade. In a environment where I'm telling people that I am cutting wins earlier and rolling higher, sometimes that's not putting on a trade like that is not our best play. So maybe we'll put something on later in the week, but sometimes the best trade is no trade, and that is what we are going to do this week. So this week's trade is no trade. Don't worry,
Sorry,
we'll be back with you Monday for another Ticker Highlight Show trade, and I'm certain we'll have a trade by then because this will have played itself out. And don't forget that we're here every day at 10 a.m. for our State of the Market show, Tuesdays through Fridays. So if you don't have it on your calendar, add it to your calendar and attend tomorrow. We're going to have a special session with Frank going through everything that's happened over the last couple of days. Should be interesting. You don't want to miss Frank Gregory tomorrow at 10. So, folks, I just want to say thank you and, stay on top of things. So for Hans Albrecht, our Director of Income Trading, Leisha Leslie, our Chief Technical Analyst, and Andrew T. Giovinazzi, our Director of Education and Head of Volatility Trading, I am Mark Sebastian. I am your only option. We hope you have a great week.